Yo, happy WrestleMania week, everybody. This is SHAU trying something here. So, welcome to Slam Talk. And with the fact that WrestleMania is upon us, I started going through old school things and going over some of my favorite matches ever. Uh, Looked at three this morning. Uh, First one, which I will put down as probably almost my number one favorite WrestleMania promo ever. WrestleMania 17. And the building tension between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin and all that turmoil that was happening in between, you know, that whole feud. And, it's been years since I sat and watched that match. And just sitting and watching that match, took me, right back to 19. And, sitting there and seeing Vince McMahon interrupt the match. And then seeing that Vince McMahon was helping Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the shock on everybody's face. And the only thing that I can do, and I just had to do it this morning, was when Stone Cold started welling the Rock with the chair. The only thing that came out of my mouth was die, 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 Rocky, die. Or if you can't tell, I was the biggest Stone Cold Steve Austin fan ever. So, going back to that match and just reliving that moment, or, going back 7 years prior to the match that's, playing in the background now, Owen versus Brett. And, you know, brother versus brother. And the fact that they gave everything for this opening match for WrestleMania 10. And just looking at it right now and seeing that and watching how just pure wrestling, was, for, someone like me, growing up in the 80s. And, when we watched WrestleMania, it wasn't on an app. And, we had to beg our parents about, you know, please let us watch because, it was $50. And, back then it wasn't as accessible. And so, matches like these, or, it's almost 30 years since I sat down and watched Hogan versus Andre the Giant. And watching that this morning, brings back those memories of being able to watch those things, as a kid, when there wasn't no Monday Night Raw, there wasn't a Friday Night SmackDown, there wasn't an NXT, when there, wasn't the internet and Facebook and clips and, the accessibility that we have today to, watch something like this as often as we want and keep up as we want with the wrestlers we want, and back in these days and watching these matches and, you know, At one point in time, it was watching it only on Saturday morning. And then, you had Saturday night main event. But, you had the pay-per-views. And then, as we, grew into our teenager years and we got Monday Night Raw, as long as you had cable. But for those of us who didn't, the only thing we had was, these matches on WrestleMania. Or if you were blessed enough to see a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series. If it's really, really good, you got to see some of the in-house shows that they used to show on the pay-per-views. So, I just wanted to take a couple minutes in which to, talk about that really fast because, sitting and looking at some of these old matches bring back that childhood nostalgia. And that's kind of what WrestleMania is supposed to be, with everything that's going on and, what everybody has to say about, the Pat McAfee thing or, the build-ups and, it's not as, organic as it used to be and stuff like that. I wanted to, you know, just think about a couple of things. And, since I did the little live last week of, my predictions for Saturday night, I'm going to take a few minutes and, go over my centers for Sunday night. So, with that being said and done, I want to go over. I jotted down a list of some facts of basically every WrestleMania. Just a couple. I'm not going to go through all of them now. I'll go through the probably like first 10. And then try to come on and do the rest and do a list of all of them up until, WrestleMania 41 and talk a bit of wrestling for this week. So, these are two wrestling fans might not be lesser to those who aren't really into wrestling, might be lesser known facts about every WrestleMania. From WrestleMania 1 all the way up to WrestleMania 41. Here we go. WrestleMania 1, 1985. The event was heavily promoted with celebrities because the WWF was financially on the line. If it failed, the company might have folded. Second fact, it was shown in theaters via closed circuit television, not traditional pay-per-view. WrestleMania 2, 1986. Took place in 3 different cities in one night: New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The Chicago Battle Royal featured NFL players versus the wrestlers. WrestleMania 3. The 93,173 attendance number is debated, real number likely lower. The slam by Hulk Hogan on Andre wasn't the first time he body slammed him. WrestleMania 4, 1988. Entire show centered around a tournament for the vacant WWF title. Randy Savage wrestled 4 times in one night in order to win. WrestleMania 5, 1989. The Mega Power storyline, Hogan Savage, was planned over a full year. Rare long-term booking at the time. Donald Trump sat front row and later became involved in future manias. WrestleMania 6, 1990. Ultimate Warrior was originally supposed to lose, but Vince changed it late. It was the first Mania held outside the United States and Canada. WrestleMania 7, 1991. Planned for the LA Coliseum but moved due to security concerns. Really? Ticket sales. Sergeant Slaughter received real death threats due to his Iraq gimmick. WrestleMania 8, 1992. Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair was teased but never happened at Mania. Roddy Piper won his only Intercontinental title. WrestleMania 9, 1993, took place outdoors at Caesar's Palace with a Roman theme. Hulk Hogan winning at the end was a last-minute decision. And WrestleMania 10 was the first Mania with two Royal Rumble winners, Bret Hart and Lex Luger. Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon ladder match wasn't even the main event. So, those are lesser known facts about the first 10 WrestleMania. But sitting here and going through, talking and episoding and things like that and streamlining processes along, the next thing I wanted to talk about was my predictions for Sunday night WrestleMania. And I'm just going to go down the list. I'll give my thoughts on each and give you my winner. Other than that, I just wanted to make this nice, short, sweet, and simple. So, first match, Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. The fact that that's going to be the very first match of Sunday Night WrestleMania is already money. The fact that this is the second night in which that they're going to be showing WrestleMania on primetime television live for the very first time ever is very big. The fact that this is going to be dab smack in the middle of ESPN, where this is going to be shown in every bar in America, in every home in America, and every place on the planet for free is a really big thing. If that is not the perfect opening in which to introduce Obafemi as a major threat and a future Hall of Famer and a big primetime WrestleMania eventer and somebody that should shake up the industry for the next 15 to 20 years, and you give that to Brock Lesnar, shame on you, WWE. With that being said and done, I think Obafemi should win that match. If you don't get it, but the fact that that's the first match of WrestleMania and that's going to be the tone for Sunday night, I'm not sure what they're doing about this Saturday night thing and the fact of trying to do what they want to do and trying to get more people in order to come and see Saturday night's WrestleMania compared to Sunday WrestleMania because of the fact of, how the last Saturday night WrestleManias have been. So it'll be highly, I will be watching both nights to see how it goes. The next match on the list and will also be the second match on the 3 hour on ESPN will be the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Penta versus Javon Evans versus JD McDonough versus John Lee versus Rusev versus Rey Mysterio. I sat down and I had to really, really, really think this one through. And and somebody can correct me, but I don't think that there's been more than one mass wrestler inside of any multiple man ever. And I'm really, 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 really thinking, and I can't think of it. In this match, we got three. Plus a really, 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 really young, hungry, bouncy individual in this match. And for these two specific matches to be the opening bouts in which to introduce Sunday night, I, I, as an avid fan of wrestling, I am really looking forward to that match. Should be one of the candidates in which to steal the entire show, and that's coming after overfilling versus Brock Lesnar. So it'll be a really, really everybody eyes on the screen kind of match because it's going to be flying everywhere. It's going to be flips and OG cutters and 619s and hurricanes off ladders, and I'm just looking forward to that match. And that should be highly entertaining. I really, really love the ladder matches, especially the intercontinental ladder matches at WrestleMania, because those matches always, always find some way in order to steal. As far as who wins that match, I can see Penta retaining. I can see some couple new rivalries put out in there. But ultimately, when it's said and done, because he looks like he has a lot of work to do with that title, especially with him defending the inside of AAA. I mean, if Dragon Lee wins, he could process that tradition. Same thing with Mysterio, and if Mysterio wins, he becomes the Intercontinental Champion, which if you had to have me choose anybody out of that, it would be him, and him fighting Dominic Mysterio and then trying to set up something with his retirement. But I can see Penta retaining and holding that belt at least till SummerSlam. So we'll have to see how that one goes, and the whole scheme. Next match, Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Let me tell you why I do not like this. Love the match. Love the fact that one of my favorite wrestler personas will be making a return. Should have saved that for Sunday night and completely surprised Dominic Mysterio. Only gripe about that. Other than that, I love that match. Glad that Finn Balor can finally go back to his true persona. He can bring back the demon, and he can go back on his solo run. And he finds his way back somewhere up along the line, and he can finally get a chance to, win and carry the world championship other than winning. Next match on the list, Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. I will not shy my words. I will not miss to say this. It is on my TikTok. I have the videos. Sami Zayn is one of my top 10 wrestlers ever in the market. And the fact that he's sitting here and going through a mini heel run, Friday night, that talk was for me. And if he would have remembered the fact that saying that he was in, some people's top 10, wrestlers of all time, and said that in his promo on Friday, I promise you, I would have geeked it so much. And the fact that he's going against young and up and starter in Trick Williams, and he has been doing his thing, and his lemon pepper steppers can step all the way up to a lot of places. This match on Sunday should be a good one too. Who wins? It might better benefit Trick if he wins. It will further cement Sammy into being, into this. I just have to go into my instincts and really pull out the veteran and find a way in which to keep that title, which is what I hope happens. Because I personally want Sammy to win. I would love Sammy to win every match. But on this night, I think it should be Sammy. And build Trick up a little bit more and find a way down the line so that he can find a way into gold. But I think Sammy should be retaining here. And right now, oh my God, I remember this so much as a child. Right now, it's Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. Oh, I remember running around the living room, just hands up in the air, running around because I was really cheering for the Ultimate Warrior. But back to the list. Okay. The big guns. WWE Women's Heavyweight Championship. Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. Really, really weird build up, and I will say that. Get the premise, and I really see, Rhea Ripley winning that match and going over to SmackDown and trying to revamp that entire division over there so that they can have some competition in which to really, really have some major competition for that title. Kudos to Jade. Kudos to Charlotte. Kudos to Alexa. Kudos to Nia. But they do need a shakeup there, and hopefully Rhea Ripley winning that championship and going over to SmackDown to give that the necessary push it in which to, really start to build up that, championship just like they're doing the men. So we'll see how that one goes. And the one in which that I anticipate the most, WWE World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk versus the original tribal chief, the 2026 Royal Rumble winner, Roman Reigns. This fact is still a really unbelievable fact in which to know. Roman Reigns nor Seth Rollins has beat CM Punk until Seth Rollins cashed in Money in the Bank on CM on SummerSlam last year. I've gone through my head. I've gone through every aspect, everything of which I know about wrestling. And I will be the very first person to tell you. I don't know who wins that match. I don't know who needs it more because they both lost at WrestleMania last year, so both of them need a win. This is CM Punk's very first one-on-one WrestleMania main event. And if he wants to be submitted to Legacy, he needs to win. This is Roman Reigns' I think, like 11th straight WrestleMania main event. He didn't win WrestleMania last year. He didn't win WrestleMania the year before. He needs a win. And that what made me go back to look at Austin versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17. Austin needed to win. It wasn't he had to win. It wasn't a I got it was he desperately needed to win. So much so that he literally shook hands with the devil in order to do so. Is something like that going to happen soon? I don't know. You put, gun to my head and had me sit down and try to force myself to choose it. I'm a bigger CM Punk fan than I am a Roman Reigns fan. And for it being his very first solo WrestleMania main event, I think CM Punk should win. That's if you put a gun in it. If you ask me to rationally think this, kind of like Rock Austin, Owen versus Brett. Career versus street. End of an era match. Macho Man running the gauntlet and becoming the WWE champion. I think this match is going to be my match. I'm going to sit and enjoy the ride. And I don't care what the outcome of that match is or who actually wins. I just hope that this is a match that we talk about, like we talk about these classic matches that we sit and watch year after year and say that this will be a match that goes down in history. That is the only thing in which I think I will say about that match is I will actually enjoy it. And because I'm trying to keep myself kind of condensed into time and keep myself upon schedule so people will actually fit in those things. This is Slam Talk, episode 1. And like I said, I'm going to try and do a few more and come through some things and do some talks. And maybe I'll get a comment or two. Maybe I'll get a subscriber. So, please like, please share, please comment. Uh, Tell me your favorite WrestleMania matches. Um, Tell me your predictions for. I did the video the other day for my predictions for Saturday, and these are my predictions for Sunday. Maybe I'll just sit down and make a quick video and put all of it together into one, so I can just have everything into the same video. But share this. Talk to yourselves. Talk about it with me. I'll be here as often as I can in order to, get everything together and processed and sit and talk WrestleMania. And then maybe I'll sit down and find a way in which to sit down and maybe live stream, do some reactions for WrestleMania, or sit down and talk to somebody. Other than that, Slam Talk. Episode 1 in the books. This is SHAU. Later.